All right, so lovely to have everybody here on this first day of July 2020, Wednesday, for a Silat class. As per usual, we acknowledge the martial arts from all over the world that influence us, regardless of the subject area in which we find ourselves. So, abbreviated Chinese, abbreviated Filipino, Thai, abbreviated Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, and Japanese. All right, so comprehensive Kambongan. I'm going, again, honesty and transparency. I'm going sans mats today. I'm very grateful for the mats that I own. I just don't feel like training on them today, if I'm being really honest with everybody. So we're going to focus a lot on our stand-up and the stand-up domain, right? Okay, so, and to get somewhat technical, this would be the stand-up ideas in the ground domain. Because remember, in the ground domain, we're learning how to be the stand-up player against the ground-based player in that methodology of play. So Guyang 1, the attack T. Let's make sure everybody has this. This is Guyang 1. We're in Mafalindo's Silat, the Silat summation of Guru Dan Inosanto. Right? All of his decades of Silat training, so many different instructors in Silat alone. And so Mafalindo, Malaysian, Filipino, Indonesian, is his training progression. Not him necessarily saying these are the most important ones, but his streamlined way of trying to bring us towards proficiency in Silat. Okay, time, very nice. So if you're touching your knees, again, this is more Indonesian. Anything in Silat that is heavily stylized is going to be more Indonesian. Because again, you've all heard me say this before. You've probably heard other Silat instructors say this before. The Indonesians were colonized by the Dutch. They had to hide their art upon penalty of death. Okay, so lots of stylization. Okay, Guyang 2, the defensive T, or the retreating T. Okay, and you can, just like Guyang 1, I'll demonstrate this in a moment, you can just step into it if you choose to. Usually in Inosanto-based systems, one of the only thing that's difficult is how much freedom you have, right, to choose. So here it's the same. I know you can't see my upper body necessarily, but if you're just stepping back, especially if you change this angle and it isn't necessarily on, I mean, I'm kind of reaching center line-ish, but this is becoming more like the Jenga from Capoeira, right? So that's Guyang 2. And then I realized I didn't do, so just watch my feet. You can, with Guyang 1, just slide into it. You can do that with all of these. All right, Guyang 3. We're going to go over all 7 Gayangs today from the whole system because I don't believe I taught all of them. Okay, so in FMA circles, Guyang 3 is just called female triangle by a lot of systems, or offensive triangle, attack triangle. Typically anything that moves in or advances is offensive. And anything that retreats is defensive, like when we get to number 5 in a moment. Okay, so that one's super easy. Let's do this before we go into the advanced ones. So your hands just stay up. So, I mean, you can make this if you really want to. With this material, I tend to just stay open-handed. This is Guyang 1. Guyang 2, again, if you start stepping back, especially if you have a capoeira background, that movement becomes very easy and very, very natural, right? You don't have to do that, though. If you just open or closed, if the hands just stay up, this is more how I learned it. All right. But again, I've said this before, there are a high number of high-level capoeira practitioners who are senior Mafalindo students and student instructors in Mafalindo under Guru Inasanto. Those people's stand-up game within the ground play is really beautiful because they have all that background with the capoeira. All right, but I've also said this before, and you should know this. Guru Inasanto has really driven this point home over the years. There are really no two martial arts subsections that dislike being compared to each other more than the Silat and the capoeira community. Okay, capoeira, you don't touch your rear end to the ground. A lot of the time you don't touch your knees to the ground. I have a high-level capoeira, a friend who's a high-level capoeira practitioner. One of his instructor's exam, he had to play the Hoda. That's looks very similar to what we do in Silat, if it's stand-up versus stand-up. That's their sort of gamified light sparring or contested energy or pattern of play environment. And during his exam, his instructors who were fresh kept going in and switching out as his partner. They kept trying to sweep him. And if he had touched his rear end or a knee down on the ground, if the sweep was successful, he would have failed his instructor's exam. So in capoeira, they kind of look at Silat and they're like, well, those people sit on the ground and they post knees on the ground. We don't like that. And then the Silat people are like, well, that's a game and our thing is a martial art and it's deadly and da, da, da. So I'm in my world, you should study both if you have the opportunity. I took a 12-week capoeira series about a year ago. I'll tell you the honest truth, I was the only adult in there besides my wife. It was a bunch of other kids. The instructor would always he'd show me other things to work on, and it was awesome. And I'm coming up on a birthday in a couple of days, but I think when I was doing that, I was 40, and he had me like almost walking on my hands. My kicks were getting really, really high. It was awesome. And not because I'm God's gift to kicking, I'm really not, but just because I got in there and I'm like, let me see what this is all about. So it's a really fun martial art to explore. And in my world, being guided by that gentleman, I would say, man, just try to learn from as many different people in as many different systems as you can. And just stay tight-lipped, because people sometimes get a little territorial, but that's the best advice I could give you. Okay, so again, if you're starting to feel that Gaian 2 feel a little bit more like the Jenga, it's really, in our lineage, it's really not a problem at all. Okay, Gaian 3, some options. You can step out even. Whether I'm open hand or closed hand, my hands are even as I step out. That's one option. A lot of people like that. It's easy to teach and it's easy to learn. You can step out with the same side shoulder as the leg that's stepping out. And when you do that, you usually can drop the lead hand. So when I step out with my left foot, I drop my left hand. When I step out with my right foot, I drop my right hand. Here. They're really okay in Silat as long as you have at least one of your soldiers on one of the elevations ready to do its job, okay? The other option is when you step to lead with the opposite shoulder. So left foot, right shoulder, right foot, left shoulder. That's another option, okay? So again, on the surface, it's like, oh, Gaian 3, it's a female triangle. It's really easy. Well, it is really easy. It's really, really learnable, but it's also there's some nuances to it to be aware of. And in my curriculum, I don't teach like Guyong 3, A, B, and C. I just teach, I show you those, and then you pick which one you want to do. I mean, and you don't have to like decide permanently if you don't want to. You don't, like, you know, I always do my hands even when I do Guyong. I mean, if you want to do that, you can. If you want to play with all three of those modalities, then that's totally fine. Okay, Guyong, I'm going to knock this out because it's going to be the easiest one. Besides, I'm gonna go 5 and 7, and then we'll go back for 4 and 6. So 5, I'm standing at the point, and I'm stepping back. This is our male triangle. Male triangle. If you're in the FMA system, they're going to call it male triangle. Okay? So that one's super easy. Guyong 5. And you can play with a lot of the same ideas as Guyong 3. Like I see Conrad experimenting with body weight and shoulder rotation stuff. All those things apply, and that's fine. Okay? Guyong 7, modified. Guyong 7. Let me get some things here. All right, so 2 triangles, point to point. Okay, so the only thing that's hard about Guyong 7, again, is how much freedom you have. So 3 beats, use your imagination, of this left foot being fixed at the point of intersection. So 1, this is my right foot. Oops, excuse me. Almost like it's almost like I don't have enough space in here or something. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 3 movements, 3 or 4. You could do 4, and then I switch. 1, 2, 3. I could do 4. If my mind has wandered, there's nothing wrong with doing 5. But then I switch. I'm going to move a little slower with this one because I know I have less room. That was 3. Switch. 1, 2. So it's lateral triangles. This one here, if I took another stick and I finished that triangle, and then I took another one and I finished that triangle, those are actually the lines that you're stepping in and out on. Okay, so that's modified Guyong 7, is 2 lateral triangles. So without, let me go over here, this way I'm not banging into stuff. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, and I can standardize it. Right now I'm always switching to the back. Does everybody see that? Right? That's all switching down this line. Okay, so other options. 2, 3, I could do Guyong 3 to switch. 1, 2, 3. Or I can switch with a slide step down this line. 1, 2, 3. I could switch with a slide step down this line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I can switch with a slide step up that line. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So that's Guyong 7. And for anybody with a I almost said capoeira. For anybody with a Silat background, and a traditional Silat background from the United States, you might have been exposed to the term lonka, depending on the system. Same idea here. Same idea. Same idea, but simplified just slightly. Like if you've ever been in a traditional Silat school, you may see the platforms, the diagrams, all these geometric shapes next to each other in these different really, really complicated configurations. That's called platform work, and that relates to lonkas as well. Okay, and I will actually, because I don't know that I even have any of it in my member site. We'll look at a lonka from Silat Sunda Bahun, and I will show you exactly what that will be used for, and it'll increase your understanding a little bit. We'll do that this class. Okay, so Gayang 4. Let me grab a whole bunch of sticks here, and I will do my very best to illustrate this for you on the ground. But based on the amount of room I have, and if you joined us later, I don't feel like putting the mats down today. Like, I feel way more energized than I did Monday, but I'm just kind of enjoying training on my hardwood floor today. So I totally would put the mats down, but I don't want to. Okay, so I'm working on the hardwood floor because I'm kind of enjoying that. Oh boy. Okay, so Gayang 4, a mess. All right, and then I got to make sure you can see it ish. And again, I might have to cheat this and then destroy it right after I show it to you, so that I actually have the room. Okay. So Gayang 4 is supposed to be a diamond with a line dividing it in half. A diamond with a line dividing it in half. All right, and at least I got it illustrated for you. And just think of a diamond with the tips, the long tips, kind of one of them's pointed at you here, and the other one's pointed back towards me. And I'm going to be doing, and I can't step on this, unfortunately, and I'm not going to tape up my floors, no offense. You're going to be, and I'll illustrate this for you, this is going to be your visual guide. So try to keep that shape fixed in your mind and just try to follow along with me. I think this one, now that we're not doing the original Gayang 7, I think this one is the hardest one, but not if you just stick with me. Okay, so if you step out, so start feet together, we're at the far point of the diamond. You step out to the corner, and then your other foot steps out to the far corner. Slide that back on that line that was bisecting the diamond, and switch. So I step out to the side, boom, I step out to the front, slide it back, and I'm switching. If you want to standardize this together, I'll call it for you together, unless you've got it, okay? I just want to make this easy on everybody. So left foot slides back to where you started, switch, step out with the right, step in with the left, slide the left back, step out with the left, step forward with the right, slide the right back, step out with the right, step forward with the left, slide it back. Okay, so at this point, I'll just do some reps. And I know my hands are off out of the frame. I'm just keeping them up. Very similar to what I was doing with like Gayangs 1 through 3. My hands are just staying up. I'm not getting lazy because they do me no good down here. Okay, I'm just keeping my hands up. There. Okay, so that's Gayang 4, and now the only one that we're missing is Gayang 6. So let me grab some sticks, please. All right, so Gayang 6 is here. Okay, so there's Gayang 6. You are Oh, my feet aren't even in the frame. Keep that fixed in your mind. You're gonna be basically walking around this. Sorry, it's a little hard with the sticks here. You're gonna be walking around that triangle. Okay, that's the way it's gonna go. Right, so this way you can see my feet. So right foot to the point, foot exchange at the point here. Okay, meeting at the point, stepping out on the side, stepping across the base, and just continuing my rotation. All right, now let's get, and this is, I have the sensation of going in one direction. Guyang 6 is hard because you have to learn it going the other direction as well, which we'll look at in a moment. Okay, now I'm going to go the other way. Left foot goes first. It's the same Guyang. I'm rotating or stepping around the shape of the imaginary triangle, going in the other direction. But there's commonalities. I'm always foot replacing here at the front point. Now I'm stepping across the base with my right foot, and my left foot is what is kind of driving the momentum of the pattern. Whereas when I was going the other way, here's my right foot kind of driving because my right foot steps back. So that's what determines what direction you're going in when you get to the front of the front point of the triangle and you step back. If I step back with my right foot, I'm going this way. I'll do 2 more reps for 5 reps. Okay, here. If I step back with my left foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's Guyang 6. We now have all 7 Gayangs. And let's look at one Lanka and Lanka, here's what I'd like everybody to take away from today's class if you retain nothing else. I believe it's a Filipino term, I believe so, but let's just say this. Guyung, G-U-Y-U-N-G, and Lanka, L-A-N-K-A, most of the time, depending on what system you're in. And remember, both of those were anglicizing Asian words. Guyung and Lanka are patterns of footwork. Patterns of footwork. So try to just retain that terminology. If you can't remember those, you could always call them, footwork 1, Mafalindo footwork 1, Mafalindo footwork 2, Mafalindo footwork 3, right? Mafalindo footwork 4, right? Guyung or Mafalindo footwork 5. And I mean, I think I can speak for Guru and Asanto on this one. Let's say that you had the chance to train with a traditional instructor that you were really excited about, but they wanted you to call these Lankas and not Guyungs. Well, this is Lanka 6. okay? Like, I'm not saying you should completely go along with just whatever anybody says. I'm not saying you should compromise your ethics. Sometimes in martial arts, though, you gotta communicate that you're willing to abide by the protocols of a specific instructor. So if you started working with instructor X and you knew instructor X was going to get mad at you if you said Gayung, just call these the 7 Lankas from Mafalindo. What difference does it make? Okay? And then Gayung 7 or Lanka 7 or Mafalindo footwork 7, remember everybody is modified. 1, 2, maybe 3 lateral triangles, and then I switch. 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 lateral triangles, and then I switch. 2, 3. I can switch with a female triangle. I can slide switch forward. 1, 2, 3. Or I can slide switch back. 1, 2, 3. Once again, the only thing that's difficult about Gayung 7, the modified Gayung 7, is how much freedom you have. Okay? Freedom to, again, we're talking about, these are all repetitive thematic ideas as I've been teaching these classes over the last 14, 15 weeks. And especially as some things have been occurring to me because I'm changing a lot of the modalities in which I offer martial arts, because this is the situation, right? We're stuck inside or whatever that looks like, all right? And frankly, because this I know this video is going to get recorded and put on my YouTube channel, for anybody who's watching this, not to make lemonade out of lemons, but I mean something that has been kind of positive martial arts wise about all of this as far as the pandemic. So many people are leveraging the technology, and you're getting the opportunity to train with some people where, you know, geographical distance would normally be a problem. So, you know, I hope people will continue interacting with me and training with me, and that's not soliciting students. You know, it's, we're gonna, as I think about, like, you know, knock on wood, hopefully in the not too distant future, I really see when it's safe to do so, I'd like to get back to teaching some live classes. I'd like to live stream those live classes, and then once I get to my commitment of 100, I'd like those live classes to be recorded and have my members have access. That's really where I see the future of our thing. And so in that way, we'll have people that are training live in the New York City area when it's safe to do that again. We'll have people that take the classes, the schedule works for them, but they're training online like we are right now in real time. And then we'll have people that go back and access the recordings. And my takeaway, I mean, I don't want to, it's not my style to tell people what their business is. All martial arts instructors should be doing all 3, because this is where we're at. This is like the best of all the possible worlds. I'm gonna, when it's safe, that's a non-political statement. That's the most important thing. When we can get together again physically and it's safe, that we have our traditional live classes that we're all used to, that those are all being live streamed in real time, so that anybody anywhere in the world, if they're available, can take it virtually in real time. And then those classes are being recorded, and those recordings are available after the fact. Because the thing that I mean, I'll speak for myself real quickly here, and then we'll get back to training. What I really like about this is all of these classes, you know, I give you a little bit of information maybe, and then I click record, and then we bow in, and then at the end of the class, I click the stop button. And so with the exception of the interactivity piece, people could be opening up a class and taking it, right? And of course they can't like ask a question because it's a recording, but anybody later, like even this recording that we're making right now, they could actually treat this like their Silat class for the week and take it in real time. And I mean, this is certainly what I'm going to be doing. Other people don't have to listen to me. It really behooves all instructors to start thinking about doing all three when we're able to safely do all three. All right, anyways, so one Lanka from Silat Sunda Bahun, okay? So I'm going to make that kind of first step of Gayung 1, but then I'm going to slide back diagonal to where I started. Did everybody see that? Let me give us a little bit of room here. So I step out on a straight line, right down center line, but I slide back to that neutral position. So it's like a variation of Gayung 1 here. Left foot, back. Right foot, in, and right foot back. Left foot, in, left foot back. Right foot in, right foot back. Okay, now I've only taught this a couple of times and we've done it seated. This is in my curriculum if you're a member, but let's review this in one of these public classes now. So Jurus Satu, the first Jurus, Silat Sunda Bahun, okay? We have this position. This is like our guard. This is where we always want to come back to. You always want the back of your hand facing away. And so the first thing I want to develop is that I can stay on one side and rotate. These aren't touching. There's space. And I want my elbow about even with my wrist. And I can switch. So I can rotate. I have my guard. Or I can switch. Okay? And again, honesty and transparency, everybody. I've only been doing Silat Sunda Bahun for about a year, or less than a year, and I haven't been able to train with Guru Yana, my instructor here in New York City, for any of 2020. He was away in Indonesia. By the time he got home, we're all stuck at home. Okay, so this is the part of my curriculum, honest and transparent, that I have the least amount of time training and teaching. These are things that I added after I moved to New York City, okay? So we have that structure. We also have a few pieces of offense. We can spear, we can vertical elbow, we can elbow to the side, we can elbow inside, and we can elbow down. And we can switch to the other side. Spear, vertical elbow, outward elbow. I'm going to change the order here, excuse me. Inward elbow. And, oh, that was the same. I apologize. Inward and downward is fine. That's fine. Let's stick with that order. Okay. Now, and the reason I'm saying that out loud, that it is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the sequence. There is no sequence. Does everybody, hopefully you understand that? Because I'm showing you techniques. I'm showing you a series of techniques. I'm counting them because I'm trying to have you kind of get a handle on them. Not because that's the order. Like, could you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Sure you could. It's all I'm trying to illustrate is those are the 5 basic moves after you have your structure in Jurus Satu. Those are the 5 basic moves you should be aware of. Okay. Now, where Silat Sunda Bahun is different in, okay, and I spent a lot of time on this. Juru 1 from Pencak Silat Sarah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? Those are the moves. They have to be done in that order. My counting them was a little bit arbitrary because it might look a little bit different, but that's Juru 1. Okay, and Juru, they say Jurus in Silat Bahun, Pencak Silat Sunda Bahun. They say Juru with no S sound in Sarah. And that changed because, and this is going to suck because I can't do it this way anymore. We used to be in this kind of, in this sort of cat stance configuration. Like a lot of you have done the salutation with me. Well, you would do your Juru, all the Jurus work. You would do that from this kind of cat stance. And I did it that way for years and years and years and years and years. And then 2017, Mahaguru Steve Plank, that's the gentleman that I have really spent the most time in Sarah with, he went to this kind of side facing, like this is a structure, this kind of stance. And that's how I started doing them. And you can see, I can't do them the way that I practiced them for, like 14 years. That's gone. Like it's just the way that we were working on. The reason I'm showing that again, that is the first Juru. This movement, this movement, this movement, this elbow, then this punch and the reset, switching your hands, and that final punch. That's the form. Like if you do those movements, but you do them in different order, it's wrong. Juru Satu is a free flow. I don't have to, I can just mix it and move, and it's fine. And I can, like, this is Jurus Dua or Jurus Tiga. I can mix those. And in Silat Sunda Bahun, it's not a set sequence of movements. So this is where I wanted to kind of get you. If I was in training with Guru Yana in Inwood, the northern tip of Manhattan, where we train in a private lesson format, we do about 90 minutes minimum. He would start me where I started. You would do a seated Juru Satu, and we would learn the rotation and the structure and how to switch on both sides, just like I started you with. Then he would introduce me, okay, Bryan, there's 5 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we would free flow it, seated. But I'm going to skip that today in the interest of actually running this class on time. Okay? So where we're going today is the following, which is a higher level expression. So does everybody remember this Lanka? This is from Silat Sunda Bahun, right? I step out straight, and then I slide back diagonally to neutral posture. Okay, so what I want you to play with, and at any point, if you feel uncomfortable and you feel like you're not moving well, if I want you all comfortable, you can turn your video off if your video is currently on, but it's fine, okay? I don't know how well I'm going to do this because I practice, excuse me, but sometimes it's hard to practice everything. And like I said, I have the least amount of time here. So what you would want to do is actually work Juru Satu with that Lanka. And it's free form, everybody. Like, when do I do things? You do them when it feels right. You have the different tools, and you're just going to mix them and do a free flow, okay? So spend maybe 30 seconds. If your video is off, but you are training, try that in the air. I know it's fine. Try that for 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Use that Juru. The other, I'm going to use that Juru Satu. The other thing I was going to suggest is you might want to, now we're mixing a little bit, you might want to try some of the other Gayums with that, right? And see, since, I mean, we're an Inasanto-based system, I know this upset some people, but especially since we're going to be mixing everything in our comprehensive Kembongan anyways. So just try that for a moment. Nice. Good. Okay, time. Really nice. Really excellent job. And again, honesty and transparency. It's been a little while since there was somebody keeping me accountable to really run that. And I like to be honest with all of you, right? Not because I'm lazy and not because I don't train. I do train and I do work on stuff. Sometimes I don't go over everything. And again, that's those additions anywhere in the curriculum where you see Silat Sunda Bahun, that's only come out of, you know, my time living in New York City. And again, we're talking about Guru Tharyana Sesangara. We usually just call him Guru Yana. He's out of Inwood, which is the northernmost tip in Manhattan. I got there early once. You could take a 10-minute walk and see the river, and across the river is the Bronx. That's the northern tip of Manhattan. Sunda is a village in Indonesia, and they have a really excellent Silat system. What I would say about Guru Yana is what I hope people would say about me. He's a really nice man, really nice, really kind, almost to the point that if you were just talking to him and you didn't know his background, you wouldn't know how dangerous he is. But the minute he lays a hand on you, it's okay. Yeah. All right. So that's Silat Sunda Bahun. And there are 3 Jurus. They say Jurus with an S sound at the end, whereas in Pencak Silat Sara, you know, what I showed you, that was Juru 1, the one that I went through. That's Juru 2, and all of the odd ones build off of Juru 1. All of the even ones build off of Juru 2. Okay, so trying to give you all a better understanding of my endless puzzle of how to make this part of a whole and make this learnable and start eliminating any kind of doubt or lack of self-belief on your parts that you're not raising your level of understanding in these foundational movements. All right, so before I bow us out, anybody who's watching this, if you're interested in actually earning rank from me, formalizing your training relationship, please go to Stoops, OMALC.com, like online martial arts learning community. All right, let's bow out. Silat, Chinese, Filipino, Thai, Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, Japanese. Awesome. Thanks for joining me, everybody.